and welcome to our second Lunch and Learn. This is exciting. I'm glad to have everybody here. I hope you brought a good, healthy lunch, one that will help you, well, that's rich in protein and minerals and vitamins and biotin that's going to help grow your hair extremely healthy, or a piece of pizza, whatever. I today have my yogurt again because I love it. And I brought a glass of water. Now, this water isn't just any old glass of water because I'm going to use it to demonstrate something for you today. So I'm going to put this over here for now. And then I'd also like to introduce you to Mona. This is my friend Mona. Do we look alike? She's going to help me today also. What we're going to talk about, well, first of all, sit back, relax, let's enjoy yourself, eat your lunch, and listen to me, and hopefully you'll learn something by the end of this video. We are going to talk today about how to recommend the correct product for your customers. I get so many questions about this, and I think it's a little confusing to a lot of people. We have the balance line, we have the volume line, we have the men's line, and then we have all the different style systems that go along with those. So I'm going to make it extremely easy for you after today. You're going to love me after this, I promise you. So let's start off with types of hair. Now, we all know about different types of hair. There's dry, there's oily, there's curly, there's straight, there's fine, there's thin, there's thick. I mean, there's a variety of different hairs. I would like for you to make sure that you have our recommendations flyer. Now, this is in your files tab in the group that you can download right now if you haven't already. And this will help walk us through some things. Also, this is a pretty piece that you can actually show people, and you know, you can walk them through the steps when you're asking them questions about their hair. The other file that is in your tabs that you can download too is the Monat Sharing Words. This one is the one that we're actually going to be talking about today the most, because this one helps you determine exactly which system is best for them. So let's start with, yes, we have all different types of hair, but we're not going to talk about that at the moment. We're going to talk about hair porosity. Have you heard about hair porosity, or do you know what that is? I don't think a lot of people know. Porosity refers to how well hair absorbs and holds moisture. It's affected by the cuticle of your hair. We all know what the cuticle is. And we all know, if we've watched the Hair Care 101 series, we know that the cuticle are like little tiles on your hair strand that actually cover and protect the inside of the hair like a tile does on a roof. Now, the porosity is affected by that cuticle and the flexibility of that cuticle, and it's determined by how much moisture and oils can pass in and out of the hair. Most porosity is genetic, but you can also affect your porosity by overexposure to heat, treatments, chemical processing, but it's very, very important that you know the porosity of the hair in order to recommend the correct products. So there's basically only two porosities. There's a middle one, but we're not going to really talk about that because that just means you have beautiful, healthy hair and don't need anything, which means you probably wouldn't need us as much. And not everybody has extremely healthy hair. So we're going to talk about the two main porosities. First is low porosity, and second is high porosity. So what is low porosity? Low porosity is actually a tightly bound cuticle layer. It's considered healthy and shiny, but low porosity repels moisture, especially when it's wet. It's hard to process. It resists color, it resists chemicals, it resists just about everything that you put on it. But it's also prone to buildup. So it's really important that, you know, if you have low porosity hair, that you're not putting a bunch of junk like silicones and things like that on your hair, because it's going to really build up on your hair. A lot of the people that are having difficulty when they first try Monat products, it's probably because they have low porosity hair and they have all this buildup that we're going to have to try and get off, that gunk off their hair. Low porosity hair, you actually need to use lighter products, things that that are going to actually work from the inside out and not the outside in. And we've talked a little bit about that on Product Central. And so, to give you an example, if you have low porosity hair, and if you look on here, on our cheat sheet, on the sharing words, you will find that on the volume treatment systems, it says it's good for low porosity hair. And why is that? Because, like I said, it works from the inside out. Everything is water soluble in our products anyway, but it's not going to leave buildup, it's not going to be heavy, it's going to work really great for their hair. So, we've talked about low porosity. Someone has low porosity hair, great. We know it's volume. So anytime you think of volume, think low volume, low volume. That means low porosity. You recommend volume, low volume. So that would actually mean what? That the next one would be high balance. So with the balance system, that means the hair is or has high porosity. What is high porosity? Now, high porosity is a little bit different. High porosity can be genetic, or it can be results from damage and processing as well, and environmental damage. But high porosity hair has like little gaps and holes in the cuticle. And what it does is it lets too much moisture into the hair, and it leaves it prone to frizz, you know, when it's humid, that type of thing. It's very, it absorbs, basically. It just kind of wants to draw moisture into itself. So if you have high porosity hair, then it's important that you use something like a leave-in conditioner, because what it's going to do, it's going to actually moisture and seal that cuticle so that all the other environmental influences and the other things that shouldn't be getting into that hair won't get into it. Does that make sense? So real important. So if somebody has hair that is high porosity, then you're going to want to recommend the what? Balance system. High, balance, low, volume. High, balance, low, volume. Say it with me. High, balance, low, volume. Perfect. Now, we've talked about that, and you're saying, yeah, but how do I know? How do they know if they have low or high? Well, it's very easy. And this is where Mona and my glass of water come in. I have a little test that you can do that's very simple. What you're going to do is you're just going to take a simple glass of water, and you're either going to take a couple strands of hair, and this is actually a human hair wig, so this is human hair, and you're going to take, ow, she says, you're going to take a couple of strands, because that would hurt if it was on a real person, and you're going to take a couple strands, and you're going to actually place it in the water, okay? And then you're going to let this sit for about 2 to 3 minutes. So we have the hair in the water, and I'm going to let it sit here for about 2 to 3 minutes. And why are we doing that? Because what we're going to do is we're going to watch it. And if the hair floats after 2 to 3 minutes, it's low porosity. If it sinks, it's high porosity. Now, didn't I tell you this was going to be simple? So you don't have to guess anymore. You don't have to ask them tons of questions and try and figure out what's happening or what they really need. What you're going to do is a simple little water test, and you're going to find out right away. So let me let this sit. What are we doing here? Okay. So I'm going to put that right there. And while we're waiting, take a bite of lunch. I still love this yogurt. Okay. So it hasn't really been 3 minutes or so, but let's take a look. I'm looking at this, and what I see is that this hair is actually starting to float down to the bottom. So if it's floating down to the bottom, what did that mean? Am I hearing everybody? Is that high or is that low? If it's floating, it's low porosity. If it sinks, it's high porosity. So actually, Mona, and she's named after Monat, by the way. Mona has high porosity hair. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to recommend that she go on the balance system. Now, that was the first step. Okay, so we know that we want to do the balance system for her. Now, what about all the other systems that we have? We have the balance treatment system, but how do we know exactly which system that we need to put them on? Because now there's 3 balance systems, not just one. That's determined by the actual type of hair that they have. Let's say, for one thing, we know that the balance system balances the pH levels on the scalp and hair, and it also equalizes the oils. So you know that if somebody tells you that they have flaky scalp, dandruff, if they have excessive oily hair or excessive dry hair, that they're going to need balance, because that's what it does, is it takes that excess and it balances it out. So that's another thing. All right, so that means that they're going to have the balance treatment system, because those are the basics. Now, if somebody says, well, but I kind of need a little bit of body in my hair also, then what you want to do probably is then maybe place them, if they have the oily and dry hair, but they also say that they want some body, I would put them on the balance treatment system first for about 3 months, 90 days, get them going on the system, and then you can actually introduce them to the other systems that contain the taffy and that contain the refinish hairspray, and if they want some styling products then. But first you want to get them healthy. If somebody has the low porosity hair, you're going to ask them questions also to figure out which one is right for them. Basically, but for volume, that's what it is. It's volume. People with thinning hair, people with flat hair, people with hair with no definition, people who want a little bit of lift and boost, that's who you're going to recommend the volume for. Oh, and by the way, the balance system is the perfect system for kinky and curly and wavy and ethnic hair. It's wonderful for that. The volume, let me go back, the volume is great for fine, flat, unresponsive, lifeless hair that's maybe been damaged or shapeless, that type of thing. So what we've done here is we've just narrowed it down to the basics. The basics are, is it high or low porosity? Once you figure that one out, do your little test. Once you figure that one out, you know which system to put them on. And you're going to put them on the basic system at first. And so that would be low porosity volume, high porosity balance. Get them on the systems for the basic treatment systems for 90 days, and then you have a way to go back and share with them again in 90 days, find out how they're doing, find out how their hair is, and introduce them to a different system. That maybe, like I said, going into one of the different body systems, the tame system, the shape, any of the different products that gives you an open door or an opportunity to get back with that customer and say, don't you love how your hair is looking and feeling right now? So let's introduce you to this other system. And by the way, if you want to become a VIP customer and get these every month, if they're not already on the VIP program, for a lot less money, and then you can mix and match and switch your systems up, depending on, where you are at that particular point. So that is my lesson for today. That is our Lunch and Learn number 2. I hope that you learned something. What I'd like you to do actually is after these Lunch and Learn, Mona, I think she said something. After these Lunch and Learns, post some questions on Product Central, and we can kind of get a dialogue going. And tell me, if you're using these tools, if it helped you, if it's an easier way to explain to customers, if you didn't understand something, let me know, because that's what I'm here for. Okay? Thank you for coming, and have a wonderful day, and we'll see you next time on Product Central and Lunch and Learns. Actually, next Wednesday. Bye-bye.